this isn't the present. It only feels like it is. The voice you're hearing, the thoughts crossing your mind, even the way your body feels right now, none of it may be happening in real time, not the way we think. Because according to some of the most respected physicists and neuroscientists alive today, the now might not exist at all, at least not as something happening. It could just be a memory carefully reconstructed by your mind, a moment being re-experienced by your consciousness over and over again, like a scene from a movie, paused and replayed so many times it becomes your reality. There's a growing idea in both science and philosophy that time doesn't move, that every instant, from your first breath to your last heartbeat, is frozen in place, and consciousness is just a passenger, reliving it all. This isn't science fiction. It's a challenge to everything we think we know about existence, memory, and identity. So if you're still here, stay curious. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell the algorithm that this, whatever this is, matters. There's something strange about the present moment. It feels solid, immediate, alive. But when you really stop to examine it, it vanishes. The second you try to catch the now, it's already gone, turned into a memory. So, what is the present exactly? Some theories in physics suggest that time isn't something that flows, it's a structure. A four-dimensional block where every moment, past and future, exists at once. Sean Carroll, a theoretical physicist, explains that our sense of time passing is likely an illusion created by how our brains organize experiences. We don't move through time, we remember it. At the same time, neuroscience shows us that memory isn't a playback, it's a reconstruction. Every time you recall something, your brain rewrites it. So what you're living right now, this very instant, could be just another one of those reconstructions, a playback, a hallucination of continuity. This idea that we might be reliving fragments of our own lives without even knowing it is more than a thought experiment. It touches on something deeply personal, our sense of identity. Who are you if the self you think you are is just a recollection? Religions, myths, and philosophies have tried to answer this for centuries. From the eternal return of the Stoics and Nietzsche to the samsara of Eastern traditions, there's a recurring theme. We're trapped in loops, replaying our lives again and again and again. So here's the real question. Are we living our lives or just watching them? We tend to think of time like a river, flowing from past to future, carrying us along. But what if it's not a river, but a frozen lake? Imagine standing on that lake, surrounded by infinite reflections. Each direction you look is a different moment in your life, some joyful, some painful, some forgotten, but all of them still there, still existing. This is the concept of eternalism, a view in modern physics that suggests all points in time are equally real. The past isn't gone. The future isn't waiting. Everything that ever happened and everything that ever will happen exists all at once. Like pages in a book, your consciousness just happens to be on a particular page right now. But here's the twist. You might not be moving through those pages. You might just be reading the same one again and again. The idea that the present is a reconstruction, not a live feed, comes from neuroscience. When you remember your childhood, your first heartbreak, or what you had for lunch yesterday, you're not accessing a file. You're building it from scratch. The brain grabs fragments, reassembles them, fills in the gaps. It's not playback, it's a performance. And recent research shows that even the so-called now, this moment right here, might be built the same way. Our senses take time to process. What you see, what you hear, what you feel, it's delayed by milliseconds, sometimes more. The brain has to compensate. It smooths over the gaps. It synchronizes the lag. It creates the illusion of now, but there's no true now, just echoes. So if the present is reconstructed and the past is permanently fixed, then where does consciousness actually live? Maybe nowhere, maybe everywhere, maybe it just loots. Let's pause here for a second. Not in the script, in your mind. Look around you, notice the details, the texture of the wall, the way the air feels on your skin, the sounds behind this voice. Now ask yourself, is this happening or is this being remembered? If it feels real, that doesn't prove anything. Dreams feel real too. So do hallucinations. So do false memories. You might be remembering this exact moment from another life, or from this one 1,000 times over. Because if time is fixed and consciousness replays, there's no reason you couldn't be stuck in a loop, a perfect, seamless, self-contained slice of time, where your awareness doesn't move forward, it just refreshes. Like a browser tab that never loads a new page, just keeps blinking the same content. This isn't science fiction. In fact, it solves a lot of problems. For one, it explains déjà vu, that eerie sensation that you've lived a moment before. The pause, the recognition, the wave of familiarity that fades as fast as it came. Neurologists say it's a glitch in memory, a misfire, a crosswire. But what if it's not a glitch? What if it's evidence? Evidence that you have lived this moment before, not once, but countless times. Let's go deeper. The laws of physics don't demand a forward arrow of time. In fact, most fundamental equations work the same in both directions. So why do we experience time as a one-way street? One answer is entropy, the measure of disorder. We remember the past because it was less chaotic than the present. As things fall apart, we perceive that as moving forward. But this is just perception, not reality. And if perception is all we have, then who's to say this moment isn't just a curated experience, carefully chosen by your brain from an infinite archive? Maybe memory isn't a record of what happened. Maybe it's a portal, a looped window into the fixed coordinates of a timeless reality. Maybe every time you think you're alive, you're just arriving once again at a page your mind has read before, over and over. Let's bring in a voice of reason, or maybe doubt. Theoretical physicist Sean Carroll argues that we shouldn't treat time as flowing. He compares it to a landscape. Just because you're looking at the mountains doesn't mean the beach doesn't exist. Your focus shifts, but the terrain remains. Every point in space-time is just as real as every other. This doesn't mean we're trapped. It means we've always been everywhere we've ever been. And if consciousness can only focus on one slice at a time, it makes perfect sense that it might land on the same one again and again. Not because it's broken, but because it's familiar, comfortable, safe. Here's a darker angle. What if you're not replaying your life because you want to, but because you have to? What if this memory, this precise configuration of thoughts, sensations, and awareness is the only one you're capable of accessing? Like a corrupted file system where only one folder still works, and you just keep clicking it forever. And yet, strangely, there's beauty in that. Maybe this moment is the one you chose, or the one that chose you. Maybe this sliver of time, this memory, is the most meaningful thing you've ever known. And you keep coming back to it because it matters, because it's yours. Let's flip everything again. Because if this is a memory, if you're truly inside a loop, then why this memory? Why now? Why this version of your life? Religious traditions and ancient myths have wrestled with this for thousands of years. Hinduism describes samsara, a cycle of death and rebirth. Buddhism speaks of reincarnation tied to karma. The choices you make echo into future selves. The Stoics believed in eternal recurrence, the exact same life, lived an infinite number of times. And in each of these views, awareness doesn't move forward, it cycles. You don't escape the loop by running, you escape it by awakening. But let's not get mystical too quickly. Science still has a seat at the table. Neuroscience shows us that memory can be manipulated. False memories, events that never happened, can be implanted, believed, even emotionally felt. The brain doesn't care if it's true. It only cares if it feels true. So if memory is that malleable, if our now is just another memory in disguise, then how do we know anything is real? Maybe you're not looping through time. Maybe you're looping through stories. Narratives you've told yourself so many times, you've mistaken them for truth. Let's imagine a scene. A man stands in a hallway. It's late. The air is still. There's a flickering light above him, and a familiar smell he can't place. He reaches for the doorknob in front of him, but he doesn't open it. He hesitates, not out of fear, but out of recognition. He's been here. The light, the smell, the silence. It's not the first time. It's the 100th, the 1000th. He doesn't remember the outcomes, just the moment before. Always the moment before. He doesn't know what's behind the door, but somehow he knows what comes after, and yet he opens it. Every time, and he forgets. Every time, and he returns. Every time. That man is you. You don't need to believe in metaphysics to find truth here, because this loop, this memory prison, might be psychological, not cosmic. Ever repeated the same mistake? Ever felt like your life keeps circling the same themes, the same emotions? Ever known what you needed to change and still couldn't? That's a loop. That's reliving. Our brains are pattern machines. They look for familiarity. They crave repetition. We return to what we know, even if it hurts, because it's predictable. It feels like safety. So whether time is frozen or not, the way we experience it is. Here's something even more unsettling. You might never know, because if you're in a loop, there's no outside reference. You only have access to this voice, this room, this moment. And if you break out, how would you know? Maybe that déjà vu was a crack in the wall. Maybe the dream you keep having is a memory trying to wake up. Maybe the strange synchronicities you keep noticing aren't coincidences. They're glitches, echoes, breadcrumbs left by your own mind, hoping you'll follow. But let's be real. Most people won't. They'll watch this video, they'll feel something stir, and then they'll scroll away. They'll forget. And they'll return. Not because they want to, but because they always do. But you're still here. That means something. It means you're ready to ask the only question that truly matters. If this is just a memory, can I choose a different one? There's a concept in theoretical physics known as the observer effect. The idea that the act of observing something, a particle, a system, actually changes it. Reality, in some strange way, responds to awareness. So maybe the moment you start seeing the loop, it starts to unravel. Not because you forced it, but because you finally recognized it. Maybe that's what awakening is. Not enlightenment, not escape, but recognition. The realization that this life, this story, this memory is yours. Not to control, but to witness fully. And once you see it, truly see it, you don't have to run. You just have to remember. Now breathe. Feel your body. Feel the air around you. Feel the way this moment settles into your chest. Maybe it's the 100th time you've been here. Maybe it's the first time you've realized it. Either way, you're here now, and that's enough. Some say there's no escaping the loop, that no matter what you do, it always leads you back here. But here's a thought that might haunt you. What if the next memory is the moment you disappear? Not in a dramatic way, not in a way anyone else would notice, but in a quiet flicker, like a flame being exhaled. gone, without warning, without return. That's the thing about memories. You never know which one is the last. So if this is a loop, if this is a playback, then maybe, just maybe, your only way forward is to choose to keep watching.